Hi there, and welcome to another exciting episode of
Mindless Science!
I'm your host, Kevin King, and I'm here to tell you all about the basics of neuroscience. So I hope you are ready to rock and roll because I am taking you to 1, 2, Brain Bootcamp! I'm just kidding, I won't be that intense. Or will I? You don't know. So, what is the brain? Well, this is the brain. I'm just kidding, this isn't actually a brain, this is just some squishy toy that I have. But I know you're probably at home being like, "Oh, Mr. Kevin, please do not kid me like that. I do not know what the brain is. Please, why don't you tell me?" Okay, Swedish girl who watches my blog, I'll tell you what the brain is. The brain is just a bunch of mush. Just kidding. The brain is actually made up of a bunch of cell bodies called neurons. Neurons have these long tails called axons with a terminal bud at the end. Now, what a neuron's main job is to transmit electrical signals from one part of your body to the other. How does this work, Mr. Kevin? I'll tell you. The axons are going to contain sodium and potassium gates. Now, these gates are going to open and close from some sort of potential that starts them off. If you have an electrochemical little chart set up here, we can see that the gates will start to open until they're going to reach a threshold. Now, the way neurons work, they act in an all or none sort of fashion, meaning once you get past that threshold, you're going to get an action potential. If you don't pass it, you're not going to get one. The action potential is what keeps the forward motion going. If you don't pass that, if it's not enough of a stimulus to keep going, you're not going to get any action potential, and therefore you're not going to get a response. So, if you don't pass that threshold, you could come right back down. But if you get enough of a response to open up enough gates and let all that sodium out, then you're going to reach the threshold and spike up and get an action potential, depolarizing the cell and then going back to a hyperpolarization. Oh, Kevin, thank you. That was so informative. I know. So where does this go? What does this do? Why does this matter? Well, the next place that this is going to go is straight into the spine. Now, say you're at home and you're running around the house and your brother pinches you and you're all like, "Mom, my brother pinched me," and then you hit him and he's all like, "Dad, she hit me," and then both of you are running around the house and then you're going to knock something down, but then it doesn't matter anymore because you knocked down that vase and then the vase broke and now Grandma's going to be so mad because she gave you that for that Christmas even though you gave her such a sweet gift and she gave you a vase. I regress. So let's go back. Your brother pinches you right on the skin. Ouch. That's got to hurt. How does this get to the brain? Well, you're going to signal an axon that is going to carry the information over to the spinal cord. Once in the spinal cord, it's going to cross to the other side and travel up into your brain. Now, I know you're saying, that doesn't make sense. Why does it need to cross? What's going on? Well, half of your brain controls this half of your body. And this half of the brain controls this half of the body. So any pinch you get on this arm, you're going to feel it from this side. Any kick you give with this leg, that's going to be coming from this side. And once it enters into the central nervous system, that's where the signals actually start transduced and made into a response. And by the way, the neuroscience is kind of split up into two systems. You have your central nervous system, which is your brain and your spinal cord, and your peripheral nervous system, which is all these axons going out everywhere else in your body. How you feel, how you kick, how you get pain. That's all part of the peripheral nervous system. Alright, you still with me? You're doing a good job. So next from here, you made it to the brain. The big daddy of them all. You know, that's what I like to say. But what's going on? Is it just some big mush like I said earlier? No. So you have your giant bean that somehow fits inside your head. Don't eat this bean. It's not edible. Well, if you're a zombie, it might be edible, but it's another story. But this is your brain. It's split up into 4 main lobes. The first lobe right here is your temporal lobe. Now this is the granddaddy of them all. If this were like the government, this is going to be the president right there. This guy's going to control all your motor cortex, all your motor moves. He's going to be how you think, how you respond to things. He's going to control all your movements. So if you're going to move this arm up or this leg out, that's all right here. So next time someone says, use your head, think, they literally mean use your temporal cortex. Going back up top here, we have the parietal lobe. Now, this is the lobe that is really important for feeling and sensing. So it's going to have a lot of any sort of touch stimulus or the pain stimulus that comes after. It's also great for emotion. I just died in your arms tonight. It must have been my parietal lobe. Sorry, American Idol's on Tuesday. But what this is going to control all your emotion and all your pretty much feeling. Moving on, we go to the back of the brain back here. This is your occipital lobe. What this is anything with the eyes. Now you're probably saying, oh, what's the big deal with the eyes? That's not part of the brain. It doesn't matter. Wrong. The eyes are huge. They are so important. If you think about it, everything that we see, we are perceiving. We have perception of everything around us. Why that chair is red. Why that bookcase is brown. This is all higher command function in the brain. So what this is you have your eyes right here, looking out nice and purty. They're going to come back, cross at the optic chiasm, and travel back via cranial nerve to the back of your occipital lobe. This is where all your ocular information is processed, split up, put into lines, and so on and so forth. Finally, we have one last part, temporal lobe. Now, the temporal lobe is everything to do with your auditory system, how you hear, what you hear, why you hear. It's going to be everything going into the inner ear, middle ear, travel through the cochlea, and straight up to your brain to perceive it. And again, this is also going to cross over, so everything you hear at this ear is crossing over to this side of your temporal lobe, vice versa. You always have to think in opposites when working with the brain. Well, that kind of brings us to what the brain is. So I really want to stress that if you have any questions about anything you see in my blog, don't hesitate to ask or leave a comment if you don't understand what any of the words mean. Hopefully what I gave you here today is just a very, very brief overview of some of the vocab that will get you started to understanding neuroscience a little bit better. So again, keep watching Kevin King's Mindless Science at www.mindlessscience.wordpress.com, and just stay in touch. I'll be seeing you next week. Bye.